Hi everybody, Adam here. Welcome back to our Lego room. In today's video, we're taking a look at Lego Super Mario Set 71437, the Bowser Express Train. This set contains 1,392 pieces. Really like the overall concept of a Mario themed train, and I think they've done some interesting things here, both with the Bowser head for the locomotive there, and with some of the different play features and sort of dynamic motion in the movement of the train car. So let's take a closer look at the finished set. There are a number of interesting elements that you get to build as part of the set. The first two we'll take a look at here are the little stations or benches for a couple of different stops. With this one here, we've got something nice, probably in the Mushroom Kingdom. Love the lights there, love the bench and the clock in behind it. Think the tree is really cool, and a really great tile piece there with the castle and arrow printed on it. Really happy with those. And then we've got more of a, sort of Bowser themed stop or station here. Love the differences in lighting between the two different stops. I also think the fact that this is almost like a cannon here rather than a bench is kind of a cool idea. And then you can see at the side here, the tile for this particular stop shows the direction to Bowser's castle, most likely. So I thought that was really cool. Both of the stops or stations are really straightforward and simple, but, give some interesting parts and pieces and elements in there that I think could be used to grow these out into a complete station. I am toying around with a few different ideas, both in terms of stations and train-wise, where this set could go in the future, what we might do with it to modify it and turn it into some different elements that we could use here in the Lego room or out at a show. But we'll talk more about that in a few moments. First off, though, let's take a closer look at the finished locomotive and train cars. Now, one of the things I mentioned a little earlier, I love the dynamic motion that they've included in a number of elements throughout the train. You can see here the last car on the train hooks on to the second last car using this almost like pickaxe anchor element out in front here. We've got the two, what do they call them? Para bitty buds on top of the handles here. And as this car moves back and forth, the handle moves and those guys then rock back and forth. Really nicely done. I thought this was a cool element, and having something like this moving around the layout or a layout in general would be really cool to see. So really love the idea of this car. Some cool structure to it to get that movement. I haven't tried you can see on the top there's 3 different codes that play sounds if you use the Mario, Luigi, or Princess Peach figures to basically scan those tile pieces. Haven't tried that yet. I will try that out eventually to see what those do. But, like I said, I think this is a really cool concept for a car. Love the fact that we've got the motion in there, and fun to have the brick built bitty buds on there as well. So a really cool car. Next up, let's go to the more passenger car that we have in the train. So basically a coach or passenger car here. You can see we've got the Hammer Brother on top here. Love the way that he's come together there. A great hammer that he's holding. Love the helmet, and you can see the shell on the back there. So really nicely done. Inside the train car, we've got a couple of Goombas with their fancy hats on. Really nicely done. I did like in general the fact that this set came with so many printed pieces. You can see the Goomba faces are printed on tiles there. Love the fact that we've got the eyes here, the eyes over here. Could definitely see those parts being useful in other sorts of builds. So a really neat set of pieces there to have. The passenger car beyond the figure sitting inside, fairly straightforward and small, but I like the fact they have nice chairs inside there. They've got a table with some tea and food on it. Just a really nice car. You'll see here is the little area where the last car can hook into. And then on the rest of the train cars, it's got the ball joint out here basically that clips into the back of the next car in the line. And the next car happens to be, it's like a cannon car basically. You can push this part all the way in and then fire it off. Cool concept. And you can see beyond that, the car is pretty simple in its design, but a nice dynamic element again in the set. Fun for people to play with, I'm sure. And then last but not least, we've got the locomotive, or in this case, the Bowser locomotive. This truly is a massive locomotive, very solid. I think they've done some interesting things here. I love the Bowser face on the front here. Really nicely done. Cool to see how that all went together and, came about through a variety of techniques. And you can see the smokestack coming out the top there. The great front end detail on the locomotive here. And then you can see the wheels that came with the set. Some more printed pieces. Love the Bowser face there. We've got a star down there. Great parts for Boom here, or that Boom Boom, I guess, is the name of this character. But, really great printed parts there. But, for all the really cool elements in terms of the design of this car, I think the thing that really stands out for me are the dynamic motion elements that are set up for this particular locomotive. So if we roll this backwards and forwards, you can see we've got the smoke going up and down out of the smokestack on the front there, and then we've got Boom Boom twirling around on the back of the locomotive. Really, really cool elements. Love the way those work. And I think they add some really interesting detail to the set. But also, are nice attention-grabbing pieces for, people to sort of appreciate from a distance. As you're looking across the layout, you see something like this moving around. It's definitely going to catch your eye and draw you in. So really happy about that. I think there's some really, really interesting bits and pieces that went into the whole train in general, but I think they've done an excellent job here with the locomotive, both from an artistic standpoint. That's a great Bowser face on the front. I think it's a really nice, imposing sort of front end for a locomotive. But, seeing the motion elements baked into this as well makes it a really, really cool locomotive, and some fun things that are included there that we don't normally see on train builds. Now, as I mentioned, I love the train the way it is, but I really think this is a set that is sort of crying out to be extended. It's very much the initial tip of the iceberg. There's a lot of interesting things I think that could be done from a station perspective, and sort of scenery elements, but also even with the train itself. I could definitely see reworking some of these cars here, specifically the flat car here and the passenger car. I could definitely see reworking those, creating versions that are a little more skewed towards the side of realism. So we've got a number of passenger car designs both built and in our backlog to build. And I think there's some things we could leverage from there to basically create more realistic train cars that could still have a Super Mario flavor to them. So I'm going to consider that, look at some different things, but at some point I would like to basically recreate this train, add some different cars as well as different variations on these ones here, but to build them all in more of a so they're a little bit more like the typical trains that we have around our layout. In terms of size, obviously it's still going to remain very, very much embedded in the video game world. I don't want to lose that flavor, but I think we could do some interesting things with kind of scaling up and making use of designs that we have for flat cars, passenger cars, box cars, etc., that end up getting flavored towards this world. So that's kind of what I want to do. But the next thing I want to check out here is to see whether this train can actually move around on our layout in its current format. So we've brought the train out here onto the layout, and you can see right away that unfortunately this is not going to run, or at least run very well on the standard Lego track. The cars are too wide here. You can see the wheels, and they're not actual proper wheels that would run very well on here anyways. But those wheels are too far out. They would be going over top of the wooden railway tie 1x1 tiles that we have from Trix Bricks. So, theoretically, if you had a locomotive that had a motor and actually worked on the track size here, it could probably pull these at a slow rate and they might last for a little while, but they would not run very well. And the locomotive, the Bowser locomotive here, would not run well on this track either, even if it was motorized. So that's unfortunate. I kind of wish that out of the box it was able to function on standard Lego railway track. Would make this a lot better for I could see a number of kids or different people picking this up and wanting to use it with their track layouts that they already have. So unfortunate, but while we've got it out here on the layout, I think it's a perfect time to sort of compare it against the North Pole Railroad train cars. I think this is a pretty good sort of comparison point. If we created some cars in this style, I think they could be adapted over to work with the Super Mario stuff really easily. You could see, a flat car with the cannon on there. I'm sure we could come up with some equivalent sort of ideas or some Super Mario related ideas that would work with the tank cars. You can see the other car here, the gondola car. I think you could come up with some really interesting things that would be appropriate to the Mario world that could fit in a car like this. So, I've got some ideas, some different sort of inspiration that's percolating. Uh, we will see over the next little while if we can take, what is I think a cool concept. I think there's a lot of interesting things in the way they've laid out this particular train here, and there's just a lot of interesting figures, parts, pieces, etc. in the Lego Super Mario line. I think it would be really cool if that was, adapted into a more functional set of train cars and a locomotive that could actually work and move around the layout. So some things that I'll think about there. We'll see if we can we'll put that on the list of different projects that we want to tackle. But as it stands right now, this is not going to be something that can run around the layout, but still really happy to have it. I think it's some really cool ideas in here. I think that the locomotive looks awesome. And, this is going to provide the sort of inspiration and the motivation, I think, for me to create a more functional version of this train so that we can use it both here in the Lego room and out at train shows. I think it would be really cool in both places. So overall, super happy with this set. I think it was a lot of fun to put together. Really cool to see how they went about creating the different dynamic motion elements as the train is pushed around. Unfortunate that, it's not something you can run right out of the box on Lego Track, but I'm really excited about the potential for an actual Super Mario train that could run around the layout. So, it's great to have some exciting ideas to potentially kickstart a new project in the coming weeks here. And I think it's also just fun to see them use the Lego Super Mario license in some different ways, create some different styles and types of sets. It's always fun to see that sort of creativity and sort of variation in Lego sets. So really happy overall with the set and how it's turned out. Now, if you have not subscribed to the channel, please make sure to do so that you don't miss out on any of our upcoming videos. And thank you very much for watching. We will see you again soon. Take care. Bye.